Hi, everyone. The first day at the Stade de France in Paris delivered on everything that you would want. Fantastic performances, notably Joshua Cheptegei, Olympic record in the men's 10,000 meters, a truly fabulous race. Fantastic in every essence. You saw team running by the Ethiopians there. Grant Fisher, oh my God, finding his way on the podium as well. Really fabulous performance. The U.S. national team also setting a world record in the mixed relays right out of the gate. I suspect we may get some more records when it comes to the mixed relays. And also a lot of dent in my new video about not expecting a lot of records. So we will see. Tonight we want to cover that and more as we do the Sports Talk Tech Olympic Roundup. I've been live pretty much all day and back for a more relaxed evening for us so we can talk and get into some of the results. As usual, it's your show. Make sure you share your thoughts and we'll discuss anything you want. I know many of you are really excited for the 100-meter semifinal. I am too. The heats of the 100 meters men will kick off in the morning as well. No starting lineup as yet because there's a preliminary round and you need to get through that first. And once that happens, they'll populate the starting lineup. So it's not possible for us to even speculate on the heat. However, I anticipate this to be a really fabulous evening. And I want to thank you all for joining me and let me know your thoughts. But let me quickly touch on the 10,000 meter final. A lot of people don't give those kind of finals the respect it deserves. But I got to be honest with you. Coming into this, I was saying, maybe it's the moment for Yomif Keljechla. And, came into the World Championship, into the Olympics with the fastest time. I was also in the back of my mind thinking Grant Fisher was doing well. Could he spring a surprise? But truthfully, I never thought that would have happened. I just felt that it would have been a competition between the Ethiopians and potentially the Ugandans as usual, maybe interspersed with one or two Kenyans. Didn't think Fisher would even make any serious headway. Likewise, a guy like Mohammed Ahmed from Canada. I just didn't think those guys would really get up to that level, especially and be able to hang with them. And I was a bit skeptical of what to expect from the world record holder Joshua Cheptegei, only because he didn't run. This is his first race of the year, and it's a special moment. Anytime you can take away a record held by Kenelisa Bekele, you know that you're doing something special. Anytime that happens, it's 100% sure that you're doing something special. I thought the Ethiopians ran really well. The pacing of the race was really great. I don't know your thoughts on it, but I was super excited about how the pacing went. The lap splits were good. I didn't really get a chance to even break down to see if there were any kind of negative splits anywhere, but for most part, I thought it was good. Really interesting strategy from Cheptegei. For much of the race, he was out of it, hanging back in 15 and 16 place. And then he finds his way, get back to the pack. And the Ethiopians, as you know, they were doing traffic control out there. Solomon Barega to uh, Aragui to Kejechla. They're just doing up and down in terms of who should take the lead, who should push the pace out. And it was an interesting thing. And it was a really great race to have the defending champion there, the world record holder, people with the fastest time. And it came down to the end where Grant Fisher could have basically gotten a silver medal. And the distance in which the Ethiopian caught him was just ridiculous, and beating him by just 200 of a second for the silver medal there. Ahmed too, really good. Quebec coming up back into the race. So I thought that was really a special race, and we should, highlight that. We should think about the importance of that for the sport in general. But all in all, a fabulous 10,000 meter race, a fabulous race to kick off the Olympics, and it's great. Thanks everybody for joining. Dean the Dream, how you doing? The best Olympic commentary. Appreciate that. Yeah, so that's where we are. We'll get into the 100 meters in a second for sure. I also want to highlight really quickly an important performance by the U.S. national team in the mixed relays. You know, it was really good. You got two heats there, and the still to this day, the mixed relays, relatively young in the sport. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. I like it now. I especially like it because it's less chaotic. You the women run with the women, the men run with men. I feel that's a more easier way to think about it. But some people think it lacks that excitement because when you switch it up around, you could see a number of different things. US was really good. Had Vernon Norwood on the team. He's been around for a very long time. Shamir Little, who tried the 400-meter hurdle double at the U.S. National Championships, Bryce Deadman, a seasoned campaigner, and Brown. And really great running from them. 307.41 to create a new world record. France there with a national record as well. Belgium, too, national record. Jamaica finishing in fourth, but getting on one of the two fastest times to advance to the final. A national record there. I thought a really good leg also from Janelle Brunfield. Stephanie and McPherson in particular, too, running a stellar 49.97 split as well. So yeah, it was good. They made it through. Poland also made it through as well. So the two fastest times came from there. Heat two obviously was won by Great Britain. They also had a national record. So it's. I think the sport is in an interesting place there. We'll see what we get. The final is tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what we'll get from that. I suspect it will be a cracker. You guys let me know your thoughts on it. I don't know if I doubt Jamaica is good enough to medal unless they make some changes on the team in particular. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you got a really good chance to see most of the things today. Smash that like button. Make everybody know that we're live. What's your favorite moment of the day, if you have one of those moments, or what's the moment that you found displeasure in? It wasn't appealing. I certainly thought I felt it for Lamar Diston, who didn't make it through in the high jump. That was an interesting moment there. I thought she had the quality at some point to get there, and it didn't happen. The high jump in general, early morning session, and we covered it in our morning recap, didn't really deliver. I mean, Topic as well was injured, still made it through. I don't know how fit she will be for the final, but no one really making the automatic qualifier of 197. So it wasn't a great time to be jumping in the morning. But we shall see. We shall see. I think it will be an exciting event there. And then, we can talk about other things. But let's probably pivot again and let's talk about the 100 meters, because a lot of people are are excited for that. Akeem, how are you doing? He says, Shelly Miseuno. Shelly looked like she's in peak form. She was looking on the big screen. Yeah, she looked good. Good to see. Gavin, how are you doing? Greetings, family. Yeah, welcome back on the channel. I've been doing multiple streams today, so I wanted to come back and do a little bit of a recap and make sure that we are all set for tomorrow. Women's 100-meter final. As we talked about it, I think when I looked at it, it was an interesting kind of a, not final, rather semifinal tomorrow, but the heats today, really good to see. I was pleased about, if I can be a little partisan here rather. I was pleased for Shashali Forbes coming in the last minute, qualifying, looked decent. Hopefully she can continue, because you're at the Olympics, you're not quite sure if you're going to run it. I think the mindset is different. It seems like a late call for her. Tia Clayton, get the jitters out. There's something there, I imagine. And then obviously the great Shelley and Fraser Price, thought looked very comfortable in that heat. Won by Talu, Marie-Josée Talu. I'm a bit perplexed by why she went that fast. We talked about it earlier today. My sentiment is that Talu doesn't necessarily run the rounds the way she should in terms of conserving energy. And I know it's not easy for athletes to really shut it down or to be in that space of conserving energy. But when you think about missing out on podiums in previous years, Talu that is, and also given that she's not on the younger side as well, the recovery is harder for her. I anticipate that she should have wanted to run that race a bit more smoothly, not smoothly, slower than she did. She looked comfortable, and I was really pleased with Fraser Price. Looked good. I didn't know what to expect really. She pulled out of the last event. We all know that, and didn't get an indication of where Shelley and Fraser Price would have been. But she looked decent. Looked like her old self. She looked ready to go. There's a smile on the face. Also, a level of composure there, as if she's been there, done that, and she has. This is her fifth Olympics, and it's hard to imagine that she's going all the way back to 2008. So she runs that race, I think, comfortably, going sub 10 there, sub 11 there, obviously. And it puts her in an interesting position. You know, I thought Shakara Richardson, now before we get to the semifinals, Richardson looked the best to me in the morning, really comfortable. The turnover on her legs were going well. Early in the race, she starts to shut it down. At one moment, she's not even moving her arms. Good. So I think Shakara looks very good there, as expected. Likewise, I thought Julian Alfred, one of the other favorites for a medal there, who could potentially win it all as well, looked good to me. Nothing much to think about. And I suspect that, you know, those three look the best to me. Those four in general, I would say, if you include Talu and Fraser Price going into the semifinal. We'll get to that in a second. Let me get to this quick comment here from Gavin. Gavin says, Shelley is definitely not there to make up numbers. Her form is awesome. Thanks for saying that. Yes, when you're the GOAT, when you're the greatest of all time, when you have a 100-meter career that Shelley and Fraser Price can boast, I anticipate that you don't come to these places and make up the numbers for sure. Some people, you know, we question, but we know she's a fighter. We know how good she is. We know in years when she's not at her best, she still finds a way to make it on a podium. We saw it most recently in Budapest last year at the World Championships. I would say the athletes that allow her to get on that podium last year need to question themselves, because she basically ran two good races and found her way on a medal podium. And that's the kind of Shelley and Fraser Price we might anticipate. Two excellent races in this championships to come. And we'll see where that goes. For certain, we'll have to get a massive race when it comes to these semifinals. So the semifinals are an interesting place to start, and we can go through them really quickly. And let's get some of your thoughts on what's happening here. So the first semifinal features Dina Asher-Smith, the American Melissa Jefferson, who looked okay, didn't look at our best, but, you know, getting through the rounds, I would say. Sasha Lee Forbes coming in at the last minute for Shericka Jackson. There's Eva Sabota. There's Marie-Josée Toulouse-Smith. Munjinga Kambunji, obviously one of those athletes with a lot of experience as well, probably the leader of the Swiss team in a sense. There's the Hungarian Takis there too. There's Dosso from Italy, who I think she's an interesting athlete, good. And the Belgium athlete as well, Rossos. So this is a decent semifinal. As we know, getting into the semifinal, you need the top two in each heat, and the next two fastest times will qualify for the final. It's not going to be easy. So I'm looking at this, and if you judge it on form, you say Talu should be there, but Dina could be running into shape. Jefferson, we know, can go 1080. She's gone 1080 this season as well. Fantastic run there at the US National Championships. I'm looking somewhere around there for those athletes. I think it's going to be somewhere around Dina Asher-Smith, Jefferson. I think Sabota might not have enough. Usually she's much better in indoors. Outdoor, she's gone 1094, 1099 this season. We'll get a sense, but I suspect if I had to say that the top three here would probably look like Toulouse-Smith, Asher-Smith, and Jefferson, somewhere around there. And but there's some an openness in a heat like this for someone to take up the opportunity to get on into the semifinal. I don't know what Sasha Lee Forbes will do. I probably wouldn't expect much, but when you get a freebie in terms of coming and running in the Olympics, you probably grab it with open arms. So maybe he might see something there. But I expect the bulk of the running to come from Smith, Asher Smith rather, Jefferson and Talu Smith. It's going to be interesting. Munjinga, I never liked to count on Munjinga, but she didn't look as well as I wanted her to look. And I know she's been struggling with some injuries in the last few years. So who knows? Who knows? Uh, we'll see. I'll get to the next semifinal. Let me check to see if there is any comments coming. Hi, Anya. Um, Shelly looking good. Yeah, she did. She did look good. She looks smooth. The question is, how fast can she go? I suppose we'll get a sense of that relatively soon. And the pressure that all these athletes will face in a semifinal round and then have to run almost typically a final there and get back into the final. It's not going to be easy. It's not for the faint of heart. Speed is required, but I suspect a little bit of an experience might be important too. And that leads us to discuss semifinal number 2, which will feature the great Shelley and Fraser Price. This is the toughest semifinal that you can look at coming into this Olympic Games now. There's the Nigerian there, Rosemary Chukwuma is there, Brie Masters from Australia, Imani Lansiko from Great Britain, the Gambian athlete there, Bas Bataille. Shelley and Fraser Price will be in lane 5. Then you'll have Julian Alfred, then Shakara Richardson, Van de Vieken from Luxembourg, and Torres from Puerto Rico. 5, 6, 7. That's where all the eyes will be on. 5, 6, and 7. The world champion from last year, the pole and a woman in pole position as well. Julian Alfred has now come into her own from St. Lucia. And then the GOAT, Shelley Fraser Price. Somebody's going to be sitting in the call room waiting. This is going to be an interesting one. Very, very interesting race here. I anticipate it's going to be the fastest of the 3 semifinal. And how that works, your guess is good as mine. The thing I worry here is that if you have to run super fast, say you're a Shelley and Fraser Price, to get an automatic qualification, will your body be ready again for the final? I guess you don't worry about that. You have to just make sure you get into the final. But I don't anticipate anybody else featuring in this race. I think it's just between those 3 women, Alfred Fraser Price and Shakara Richardson. The rest, I think it's a bridge too far for them. Of course, Chukwuma run a 1088 this year. Can never count her out. So I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm thinking that this is the space where I just don't really anticipate anybody else coming through there. What's your thoughts on it? How do you have this going? And thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you for subscribing. We have almost 100 people on the live, just about 27 likes. So if you like the video, we'll really appreciate it. Gavin, let me get back to a comment here. Gavin is saying, selecting only the fastest 2 from each semifinal seems like a road to hell with such a competitive feel. LOL, I think the fastest loser may come from Shelley's heat. I suspect you will think, although you'll be watching the race as athletes for semifinal number 3, and you would have seen the times that would have come up on the screen. So that would give you an opportunity then to figure out how fast you might want to run in the 3rd and final semifinal, which we'll get to in a second. However, honestly, I really don't know. It's a hard one to call. I guess we will know where Shelley and Fraser Price really is. But here you really would hope for that pocket rocket start. She needs 2 of them. One here, one in the final. And she gets out. It's tough to run her down. but we'll see what we get here. I think that's what will happen. You let me know. I'll get to the next one, obviously, but let me know your thoughts on that. I think semifinal number 3 is the one that, not that you necessarily want to be in it, but it's the one that you would like. It features Bertrand from Trinidad and Tobago. Good to see someone from the Twin Island Republic there. The athlete from Czechia is there, Mansova. Zoe Hobbs from New Zealand, and Daryl Nita from Great Britain. The Canadian athlete Audrey Leduc, the sensational teenage prodigy there, Tia Clayton, T.T. Terry, the German Luckenkemper, and the Belgian athlete Enkansa. So there we have a set of another a good semifinal, I guess competitive in nature, but if you wanted to be in one, this is what you wanted. I suspect if you were either Richardson or Alfred or Fraser Price, you'd have preferred to be in one of these slots here. I think I saw the interview from Tia Clayton today, and she was happy to be in the Olympic Stadium. She certainly referenced it not being like the Jamaica Championships for high school. And she felt like the start wasn't her best one. And that's something that they would have to iron out come the semifinal. But I suspect if she has the jitters out, she may want to run a race of her life. She comes into this race as with the fastest time of the year, 10:86. The rest are just barely below sub 10 there, sub 11 there rather. Darren Nita with a 10:92 this year. And so I think Tia Clayton would look at this and say, this is an opportunity for her to try to get into one of those top 2 places. I suspect Nita will do something as well. T.T. Terry as well look really good at the US rather, national championships. So I think the bulk of the running for me will come from Nita, Clayton, and T.T. Terry. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'll get to some comments. Yeah. Amber is saying, we Shakari fans just want her to run fast time for herself. Just seeing her on the track is enough. Remind the haters there's no need to say hurtful things. Yeah, I don't think there's need to say hurtful things. I would support that. I suspect if you're Shakara Richardson, you would feel super confident going into the semifinal. You will also have a year of experience where you sat in the call room after not having a great start in the semifinal in the Budapest World Championships. And then as a result, you got one of those outside lanes. But in the end, it didn't matter because you won the World Championship. I don't think any athlete wants to sit in the call room, because when you sit in the queue room, you are now at the mercy of other athletes. You have to hope that the other semifinal doesn't go faster than yours. I think if you are from if you're from the second semifinal, then you wouldn't necessarily have to worry, because I believe that will be the fastest of the 3. You will get something. So when you're lining up Shakar Richardson, Julian Alfred, and Fraser Price for sure, I think it's going to be a cracker. So I think if you manage to be sitting in the queue room, you might feel comfortable about it. Don't really know. I guess at the end of the day, the most important thing is to make sure that you finish in the top 2. But one of those top athletes, I would suspect that on form you would say it's Fraser Price that might be sitting out, but you just don't know. You anticipate that Richardson and Alfred should qualify if we go by season form. But you have to run the race, so we'll see. Gavin is saying on Hobbs, she's looking good. Yeah, Zoe's looking good of recent time. I like her. Only 11:08 this season, though. I don't know what's in the tank for sure. Last year, I think she did a 10:96. So You have to run you have to. From what we saw, I suspect Fraser Price is definitely in a 1085 shape. How much quicker, I don't know. So if you're Hobbs, if you are the other athletes there, not sorry, not Hobbs. I make a mistake here. I think I know Tia Clayton obviously is in. I meant no, I didn't mean Fraser Price. I meant Tia Clayton. She's in 10-8 shape for sure. We saw that at Jamaica National Championships. And TT Terry did that as well. So if you're the likes of a Hobbs, you have to know that you might need to be going into those directions if you're going to get into the into the final as an automatic qualifier. Otherwise, I don't know. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for liking the video. I really appreciate those who hit the like button and subscribe. Anthony R is saying Shelly all the way. Yeah, great sentiment there. Barnsley 2511, and his comment is, I think Julian Alfred will be the big surprise of the 100 and 200. I don't think there's anyone that works as hard as she does. Interesting. I don't know about the hardworking part. I know she works really hard. It's hard to know how everybody works. I know she's well prepared. I know she has an excellent coach in Coach Flo. She's a part of a great training group. She's first year out of college where she has no season to look forward to in terms of a collegiate season. So all eyes are on the Olympics, and I think she will certainly be one of those individuals that get on the podium. I think it's hard for me to see 3 women beating Alfred in the 100 meters, but I don't know. You know, we have to run the races, but I think she'll be there. True Blue is saying, I think I think you meant Tia will upset the front runners. Oh yeah, you did correct yourself. Thank you. And yeah, when you look back to what Stephen Francis said, what did he say? He thinks she is much faster than she was at the Jamaica National Championships. I think he's talking about her in the context of her, in the sense that can she seize the moment? She's a 19-year-old kid. It's not easy. It's her first Olympics. It's a massive stage. It's the biggest stage you'll ever be on. Sometimes that works in your favor where there's zero pressure. You just come and have fun and you could shock the world. I don't know. I think there shouldn't be any expectations on Clayton, I think. At least any pressure expectation if you are from Jamaica or wherever, if you want to support her. Let her feel it out. So far, she's done well. She ran her first race and she's in the semifinal. Her next step is to try and get into that final. I think she will. And then once she gets in the final, then anything can happen. But we shouldn't anticipate with pressure. Where are we? Anthony R saying, is Sharika running the tour? I think even sure. Yeah, as far as we know, she is. That's what they said. That said she gave her body time to just be at the best to run the 200 meters. We'll see. We'll see. That starts in a few days after the 100 meters, so we'll get a sense there. Tyreek Taylor is saying, listen, I believe Alfred will choke in the semi. Something about her demeanor tells me that from the heats, and do not underestimate SF Shelley and Fraser Price. Never underestimate Fraser Price. I just want to say that if I'm coming off that way, I don't want that to be the message, because I think she's the greatest fighter you'll ever see in the sport. Her determination is steely. she tries to get on the podium all the time, and she usually does. There's only one time you could say she never gets on the podium. So I don't underestimate her. Could you say more though, Tyreek, about why you think Alfred will choke? Because I didn't get that sense. I don't. I didn't get it. I mean, you can have a first round jitters. It didn't look that way to me, but if you see something and you want to elaborate on it, let me know. Uptown KNG, why are we neglecting Talu? That's a good point. We should go back to Marie Jose Talu. I don't think we are neglecting Talu. I like Talu. I think Marie Jose Talu is one of the nicest women you'll see in the sport of track and field. A formidable athlete, a competitor, a woman that knows disappointment. She's been on the cusp of many medals, finishing fourth place after time and time again. She looked good. The thing that I worry about is one, age, and two, the fact that I felt like she ran that opening round a little bit too fast. But it could be me just overthinking it. But we've gone to previous years where we've seen her come into a championship and not run as fast as she wanted, and not run as fast as you anticipate, maybe run the earlier rounds too hard. The one thing I'll say, and since you brought it up and it allowed me to reflect somewhat, maybe she needed to run that way today just to test out things, just to see where her body really is, because she was on course, then she picked up something. I think she had a little bit of setback, if I'm not mistaken, and then she got back into it. So yeah, I don't want to ever count out Talu. Also, rarely very experienced. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Gavin is saying, personally, I don't like Julian's running style. She seems to use more strength than technique. She's always rocking from side to side. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. Sometimes the head position isn't great. I don't know if it's a I don't know if it's a big deal though, to be honest with you. We'll see. Uptown is saying Alfred is on the podium already. I feel that way too. I feel like she'll definitely make the podium. Kimon, how are you doing? Good to see you. Good to have you back on. Semifinal 2, you're saying will tell me who will win. Shelly run wasn't enough for me to gauge her since she didn't run much this year. Yeah, that's the same kind of space I'm in. I suspect from what we saw from Shelly, you could say she could definitely go sub 10.9 for sure. How much lower? Don't really know. That's the kind of situation we are all in where it's hard to gauge. If it was a Shelley and Fraser Price we saw a few years back, then you would know differently. But she hasn't run a lot, and it's for a reason. I don't think they would want to sit the season out the whole time and not run. It started later because of injury, and it wasn't smooth sailing, and they did enough to get to the Jamaica National Championships, and then we thought we'd have seen her on one of those races on the tour, and the final one, I think it was in Lucerne, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then she pulled out of it. So I don't know. Courtney Vegan is saying Tia talked about the crowd after the race. She needs more experience with big crowds for sure. Yeah, they do. Not much bigger comes than a 75,000 seat capacity at the Stade de France, though. So she got it today, and it looked raucous. It looked like people were really fired up in the stadium. Yeah, she just got to put some blinders on, as they would say. Focus on herself. Focus on her capabilities, what she's capable of doing. Listen to what Stephen Francis says and execute. That's just another race, and if she can manage to do that, And she has to feel the pressure in the sense of if she's nervous, you want to acknowledge it, right? And then don't let it consume you. Get it out of your system, use it as a catalyst to launch you into that final. I think baby steps. Everyone's working in stages. Get to the semifinal. Get out of the semifinal into the final should be what Tia wants to do for herself. Run for herself, forget everybody else, forget family, forget her sister. It's hard to do. She's a twin, but just lock in and say, I'm doing this for me, and we'll see what happens there. And let me get back to some more comments. Glad you guys are putting the comments in, and I'm also liking the video. 100, we're up to 100 and something here. Uptown is saying it's as if the universe pulling all the right strings for Tia. You could say that. I suspect you're saying if you get a heat and the big threat would be a Daryl Nita or a TT Terry. Hobbs is there too. Maybe Luck and Kemper, but not really. One could look at it that way. I see where you're coming. Akeem is here again, and he says, based on Talu's history, she always looks good but fail in the finals. Yeah, that usually is the downfall. Sometimes I don't know often if we say she'll always fail. Sometimes she just comes up against runners who are quicker than her. There are a couple of years where she should have been on the podium and she didn't. Even last year, you would think. Kimon is saying Shelly seems like she slowed down, then picked when she sees Talu way ahead and then eases back down. Yeah, I think she took a check and she was okay. Usually Shelly runs from the front anyway. I think she might be okay. She may just pull it off this time. Is that in reference to Talu? Who's that in reference from? Farrell is saying, I love how some of y'all don't go Shelly to medal when we shall see she's the GOAT and know how to prepare herself. No, she is the GOAT. No question about it. What she's done over that remarkable career will take a very long time for anybody to replicate. Back to back at the Olympics, third woman to ever do that after Wyoming Tyus and Gail Devers. She's also had a bronze medal and a silver medal at the Olympics as well. And 5-time world champion. And also a bronze medal from the World Championships. She can't find place to put those medals. It will take a lifetime for some people to even look close to that. So, yeah, for that reason alone, her experience coming to our 5th Olympic Games, some of these people, were babies and small kids when Shelley and Fraser Price started when she broke onto the scene in 2008. And, you've seen the stories, you've seen the rugby player who looked up to Shelley and Fraser Price and they finally met. That's the kind of thing happens when you are a big time runner that can stand the test of time, and her longevity speaks for itself. So we'll never counter her out. I don't think we can. It's just harder to know when you don't really have a full sense of what her preparation looked like, because she hasn't really run. She's run sparingly, largely because of injury. Edwin is saying the challenge that Alfred has is, will she be able to hold her form in the last 30 to 40 meters of the race? So far, I think not. She seems to struggle in that part and starts leaning early. Yeah, there's some of that. I don't know. I mean, I think it depends. I mean, I suspect Julian is definitely in a 10-7 shape. And that alone is good enough to get into the final. What that means afterwards, I don't know. I think she can. I think she can probably pop off a 10-7-5 or better in the semifinal tomorrow. That should put her in the final. And the final is a different story. I don't know if you need a 10-6. We'll see. Yeah. True Blue again is saying Talu is Heat's queen, always run all out in the heats and can't produce in the final. Yeah, some of that, it does look that way from time to time. Jacoby says, Shakari was not what unromantic, qualified in the World Championship, but still win the final. She just needs to make the final. Yeah, I suspect that can happen. And so for some athletes, it depends, right? I think if you're in the queue room, if you get into the queue room, you're gonna get an outside lane. You're gonna get lane 1 or 2 or 8 or 9, right? So, well, two or you get 2 or 3 rather. Sorry, and then probably 8 and 9. Depending on the type of runner you are, that could be freedom. For others, it may not be. Sometimes being in the middle is not always the best, especially if you don't react well or if other people can throw you off. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Barnsley is saying, Tyreek, you need to worry about Shakari, not Alfred. Let's big up our Caribbean ladies. Don't be too harsh on him. I think he's making some fair points there. Gerald is saying, Alfred run the toughest heat with the strongest headwind at 10.95. Figure it out. Okay. I guess I see what you're saying. Um, Jacob is saying people forget Shakari did not qualify, did not qualified automatic to the finals when went to the finals as a fastest time. Yeah, that happens. That happens. Yeah. Uptown is saying I'm giving Shelly bronze. That's a big call there. Big call there. Akeem says it's all about who can withstand the pressure of the semifinals. Yeah. I think it is when you're in a tough heat and you want one of those automatic qualifying times and you have to run super fast. That's great on one end. Then you have to come back within that 90-minute period and be fresh again and be able to pop it out. And that's where the fitness, that's where age matters some more because recovery is quicker when you're younger. And if you've been having a great season, very fit, you are able to go back to back like that. If you're not, then it can be a challenge. So that's all we are saying. Yeah. Uh Now this is interesting confidence here. You're like Gina Bass will win the goal. I suspect you are Gambian. I don't know if you are. That would be interesting here. I mean, she's Bass Bataille has been having a good season, 1093 this year. I don't know. Anything can happen, but I think that's where it comes to an end. It would take a lot for her, in my estimation, to even come into the top 2 fastest losers in that heat. You know, that's what I would say. I mean, she could do it. She could be, but I would go for uh, Rosemary Chukwuma before I go for her as one of the athletes to get into the Q room. And it's no disrespect. I mean, it's just how I'm seeing it right now. But she's not a bad athlete. I think she's decent. Uptown is saying Shelley was in better shape last year and couldn't. Okay, yeah, yeah. Come on. STG for life. For a long time I haven't seen her on the channel. She ran 10.78 weeks ago. This is Alfred, you mean, right? Okay. And Alfred has the fastest time adjusted for win. Uh, sh- yeah, there's only 8 lanes, but I meant from 2 to 9. They're not going to use lane 1 in the front. I think they're just going to do 2 to 9 usually. I don't think they'll vacate lane 9. I think now they're doing like the 2. They might do 2 to 9. I could be wrong on that. I don't think I am. And then in years to come, I think starting is it next year they're going to use all 9 lanes anyway. So we'll get to have 9 people in a final. And in future, World Athletics will require new tracks to have 10 lanes. I like it. I'm here for it all. Is saying even though they call it a semi, it needs to be run like a final. Certainly agree with that. Those who do not will be out. There are only 3 rounds as opposed to the usual 4. Yeah, it's a different type of space we're in. You go back to even 2009, that those time of years used to run a lot more. Used to have quarterfinals at the Olympics, all of that stuff. Yeah. STG saying Abbas can't win. I agree there. Robert is saying the 100 meters is a straight race. The important thing is to secure the lane in the final. I agree. So, oh yeah, I forgot you're in Europe. Yeah, it's late there. Yeah, you're doing a late night thing. Yeah. 9 is too far from the gun. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't think when it comes to the gun uh, at this level because the Omega system is fabulous. You know, you should hear everything out of your own individual thing. Everything is hooked up. Yeah, it's not. It's gone are the days where you require that the sound comes out at the same time, and so it should be fine. Yeah. Expose the truth. Thank you for joining. Shelly retire with a gold. Now that would be super special. I don't know, but that would be interesting. Uh, yeah, it hasn't been 4 rounds for many years. I guess you're responding to somebody else. And Delrose Falls, what time the semifinal begins for the ladies tomorrow? We could put that up. That will be. Let me see if I can get that up tomorrow. I'll ask my producer to put the timetable up in a second. That's early in the evening session anyway. We get it up for you. So it will be at 1:50 Eastern Standard Time. Wherever you are, you have to do the calculations there. Yeah. Crowd noise. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. But, the mics are really better now. Trust me, the sound system there. This is not like watching uh I don't want to call other meets, but it's not a low level meet. The stuff that Omega has is really top class. They make the best stuff. Them Seco, those guys make the really top class stuff. It should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. Yeah, yeah. All right. Let's continue with some of these comments. I like them coming in. B Skillshare says, just don't you use what you saw earlier to count out Shelly for the goal. Just wait until tomorrow. We will all see what the mother of track can do. Tomorrow is coming. Yeah, I don't think you can necessarily judge any performance tomorrow. I mean, you see things, everything looked good. I mean, I think Shelly looked good. I had no problems with what I saw from Fraser Price today. Talu looked good too, probably a bit faster than I would like, but she looked good. Shakara Richardson looked fabulous, and I think Julian looked good too. So I'm not really, nothing surprising happened. I think Tia Clayton had some jitters, but she got it out of her system. She's fine. All these athletes are coming back with a talk from their coach, a night to relax, who sleeps well. That's the kind of stuff you'll see. Yeah. Brian, what's going? Good to see you back on. Feels like I'm on the live all day today. Yeah. The semifinal of death will produce the podium. I agree. I suspect that might be the truth. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm here for it all. Expose the truth. Julian and Shakar is going to have something to say about that. Oh, you mean in reference to it? Yeah, they definitely will will be. And thanks for putting it in Paris time. STG for life. Uh, you're also saying Shelly shocked me in that she basically jogged her season best in the heats. Yeah, it looked like primetime Shelly and Fraser Price. Good sprinting technique. The knee is interesting, right? I don't know what the knee will do. She needs the knee to hold up for like 2 rounds. Can she get that pocket rocket start? She needs a good start, I think, and that will work. Julian was technically the best when adjusted. Yeah, that is true. That's fine. John, what's up? First 2 heats will ensure Tia can't be a lucky loser. She will have to win her heat to ensure second. Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I think everybody in the third and final heat, they will know what's going on. And I definitely think heat number 2 will be the fastest unless it ends up into like a negative headwind and the others get, a 1.5 or 1.2. That's the only way it could go otherwise, but I suspect it will come that way. And Jonas is saying the Paris 2024 app is a good for scheduling viewing because it shows the events schedule in your own time. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Shelly really just jogged, none of her normal intensity. Yeah. And Gavin says that feel has a lot of potential, man. Yeah. And STG for life says Shelly just needs to sneak into the final. Semifinal 1 and 3 won't have fastest losers. I think that's what will happen as well. Yeah. No, so yeah, some good stuff going on, obviously. Yeah, we can continue to talk about that. Also, tomorrow we'll get uh, a sense of where the men are. We'll get an opportunity to see in the morning session, and I'll come back in the morning session to just quickly talk about that. We'll get to see the likes of Noah Lyles, Kishane Thompson, Fred Curley, Oblique Seville. We'll get the defending champion there as well. Lamont Jacobs. We'll see Kung Fu Kenny, Letsili Tobogo, Ferdinando Munyala, Andre DeGrasse. There's a bunch of people who the eyes of the world will want to see them kind of exercise the legs there in the Paris, hopefully sunshine. So I think it's going to be golden tomorrow. Yeah. Let me get back to some comments before we get back to that. Tia is saying, Robert says Tia Clayton is in the perfect semi to reach to reach the final. SDG says Tia will define herself tomorrow, expose the truth. Still not counting out Tia Clayton, and the men will be a doozy. STG says not feeling the grass. Yeah, I haven't been feeling the grass this year. The thing about the grass is that you can never count him out. He's one of those interesting guys. But I'm actually really intrigued to see what the Olympic champion will do. You know, he ran a 10:92, ran some races, look okay, but didn't look super special, but he didn't look hurt either. And I want to see what he can do. You can never count out a champion, obviously. He hasn't given us any indication that he is the man to look out for, but he didn't give us any indication in Tokyo, and then he found his way there. And in fairness to Jacobs, the biggest obstacle for him since he won the Olympic title has been injuries. He did even show up at a indoor world championship and pull off a 60-meter title. So if he's fit and healthy, we'll see. I'm really intrigued to see what he can produce, to be honest with you, because we haven't seen him in a while. And yeah, thanks everybody for coming on the live and for liking the video. Yeah. And John is saying he agrees with STG. I guess that's on DeGrasse for sure. He can be counted out in 100. It's the 200 where DeGrasse is special. Yeah, I would say DeGrasse should even skip the 100 and just kind of sit out and wait to see if he can make a launch in the 200 meters. Because when you look at the 200-meter guys, you got Noah Lyles who's doubling. You have Letsili Tobogo who's doubling, who I wish should just probably stick around and stay just for the 200. And you have Kung Fu Kenny, Kedney Bednarak there doubling as well. So the top guys there are all doing the double. If you're fresh, you could probably be in the mix there. I know Aaron Knighton is also just waiting in the wings, but I don't know where he is, to be honest with you, because we've only seen him twice this season because of he got tested positive, which he then was adjudicated. He was cleared by the adjudicated he was cleared by the special committee who was independent of USA anti-doping. So we'll see. STG saying men's 100 is likely now a 9.6x game now. A lot of people are calling for these big times, right? 9.6 is special territory for sure. There's only 3 guys have ever gone into the 9.6. Tyson Gay, Ewan Blake, and the great man Usain Bolt. Can it happen? It could. The way Kishane looked at the Jamaica National Championships, going 9.8, 9.8 twice, then coming back and basically shutting down a 9.7. I see a low 9.7 for sure. A 9.6, that would be interesting. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah. Yeah, he did run he ran a 9.95 at the European Championships, yeah. Um let's see. John is saying seeing their feed. I don't maybe I missed that. I don't know what that is. Doubling can jeopardize a medal in the 200. I guess you mean medal in the 200 as the field is tightly bunched. I get you. Uh let's see. If you want goal, it's likely what's needed. I hear what you're saying. John is saying a pity nine not allowed in for the women's finals. That will come in years to come. A low 9.7 with a breeze, it's 9.6. Yeah, let's see if there's breeze. I mean, I was shocked to see was there 1.5 today in Stade de France? Was it 1.5 or 1.2? I was like, interesting. Uh, we'll see. Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. Matt is giving a Bible verse, I think. Uh, Alex in Adelaide, how you doing? Is there a Caribbean commentary for the race? I don't know. I'm not in the Caribbean right now, so I suspect. Chris, I didn't. Maybe I miss. Oh, let me see if I go back and miss your stuff. I didn't censor you. Did I miss comments from you? I've been scrolling. There's all of these coming in. Where am I? Okay, I missed one of yours. Wouldn't you just love a Steve Bradbury moment where all the black girls fall over and the white girls coming last actually wins? This is interesting. I I can't see that happening. Yeah. Uh yeah. I mean they would require yeah. That I guess you're making light work there. I didn't see your earlier comment there. There's a lot of them coming in. I'm here for it. Not that I want it to happen. Any predictions of false start? What's race with a false start or two? Don't know. I mean, false start can happen. There is pressure that can happen to people. Reacting too fast can happen. I don't know. It just depends, right? It really depends on what happened. I think athletes are increasingly learning to stay in the blocks, right? We saw the movement today from Chukwuoma that caused the other athlete to come out, but it was just a warning. In fact, Chukwuoma could have been sanctioned for that, but they were being, I think, light with that because she really moved a lot that caused the other athlete to jump. But she didn't lift her feet off, so she didn't even get. I don't think she even got a warning. I think the whole field was just cleared. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're being a little bit lenient. I'm not sure. Yeah. Brian is saying Teboga has something up his sleeve. That London run was a mask. In my heart, I'm thinking that way. I will see. Yeah. STG, how Canadian Leduc looks. I mean, she looks okay. I actually think she looked decent. National record for the Canadians there. My thinking is how much more is in the tank? That's the question. A 10.95. She looked comfortable doing it too, but I just don't know, to be honest with you. Like it's really an interesting question you're asking. I yeah, I really don't know what else you can get. I mean, but she did look good. Uh what does that mean? How much faster can she go is a good question. I yeah. And I suppose like we look at athletes and we kind of count out some, and that's probably not the right thing to do, uh, because you just never know. It's someone can step up, but she was comfortable. I thought she looked like she ran a bit hard too, but she won the race. I mean, she beat Clayton. I'd have to look at it again, but I think she was fine. Yeah, yeah. Uh, where am I? John is saying, does anyone think Jefferson can qualify? Eh, Interesting. I mean, she has the ability, yeah, but I don't know. That's a good question there. It's it, when I look at it in Heat One, I think she could be. If she runs well, she could get an automatic. I think what you want is you have to get an automatic. I think in one and two, because three might be in one and three rather, because two might be too much. The question is, how much faster can Dina go? That's a big question for me. I suspect Talu will win it. But the American girls they had a good championship in Oregon. They're all from the same camp, coached by Mitchell. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not out of the question for sure. It's not out of the question. But if she wants to, she needs to secure one of the top two. Yeah. Uh, STG says, recall what Gatlin said about Bolt and Blake in the 2012. In warm up, they showed a change of gear from 50 meters that they unleashed in the final. Yeah. That was a special run in London there. Whew. I mean, Usain too. What was it? 963? Was it 963 or something like that? He just found a way. Yeah. I mean, Kishane has a change of gear for sure. I agree with that. He does. He does. Yeah. John is saying, how quick do we think the first heat will be? I don't know. I think there are women there who could make the calculation that if they don't make it in the top two, they have no shot of getting into the final. And because of that, you would anticipate it might be very quick. There are experienced runners there. There's Munjinga Kambunji, right? I mean, at her best, she's 1089. This season, she's gone 1090. I don't know. There's obviously Talu. There's Saboda who can fly out of the blocks. She could put you in a little bit of trouble. She's been improving over the outdoors. Don't know what you'll get from her. She's done a sub 10 this year, sub 11 this year as well, going 1099. Asha Smith, that's the question there. What can she do? You know, I don't even want to count out Sasha Lee Forbes because you never know what that might mean for an athlete who gets a chance. You can't count out the Italian either. She's like on the cusp. But there's all these women, even the Belgian athlete, the women are all in that kind of similar season best time that would suggest that, they'll fight for their lives, right? Jefferson obviously has the fastest of the lot this season. Uh, Big PB there for her. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Bella is saying, I don't see Leduc going any faster. Yeah, I look that way too. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know what her ceiling is. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Um, I agree about the Leduc look full out. She did look like she ran it hard, but I don't know. STG says Jefferson's better than TT. No, I agree with that too. Yeah. Chris saying all good. I love track sprints 1 to 4. I'm 72-year old old fat white needing hip replacement in early 70s in Australia. It was good to even run on grass sub 11 and sub 22 49 all day long. Yeah, that's back in the day for sure. Yeah. Good to have you joining from Australia. Eric says Shelly's the GOAT and should qualify, but don't think the other two will make it in. What? Shelley's the GOAT and should qualify, but don't think the other two will make it in. Can you explain that some more? Who are the other two you're talking about? Uh, Bella says, so that means she will beat out Dina and Saboda, assuming Talu makes it. Yeah, could be. I think Jefferson should make it in. I don't know. I mean, she looked good at US Championships. You just have to do it. STG says prediction for semifinal two, winner high 10-7, similar for second and third at low 10-8. So yeah, that's the thing. I think you have to go early and try to run at least 10-8 to win your heat. Otherwise, it might be a 10-8 looking at you in the queue room and you won't get it. You know? Yeah. 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 I think I get what you're saying. Maybe you don't think Shashali and Tia will make it. I get what you're saying there. No. Okay. Uh, yeah. Semifinal three has the advantage. They know what it takes to qualify. That's true. They just That doesn't mean they'll deliver. But I see what you're saying. Semifinal one will run blind. Any athlete running a PB in the semifinal will be dangerous in the final. Tia could be such one. I agree. TT Terry looked like she came from a fashion show. I don't know, it's probably a little bit harsh there, guys, but I get what you're saying. Anyway, I've been on live a little bit over an hour. I don't want to spend too much tonight. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We got to get up and see. There's some other interesting stuff that will be there. Great stuff here today for sure. I'm looking forward to what we'll get tomorrow as well. I'm looking forward to the finals in the shot put. I think that will be special. Today wasn't a great qualification for Joe Kovacs. I wasn't sure what was up with him. Even Fabry had to work hard to get into the final of the men's shot put. Uh, yeah, it's going to be interesting. You'll also get some repechage rounds in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters for men, 800 meters for women. And, interesting time now, no longer any fastest losers for 200 meters to 1500 meters. So we'll get to see some of that. The continuation of the decathlon is also on tap. And the triple jump final, I think that should be interesting final. I think there will be two Jamaicans there. I'm looking forward to see what Thea Lafon will do. Beck Ramonchuk, I think Perez Hernandez may pull out something special. There's Jasmine Moore rather, Povia as well from Cuba and Campor. So it's going to be an interesting set of things tomorrow. We'll get finals in triple shot put, the conclusion of the decathlon, where we may see Leo Norberger winning, and the 100-meter final in the afternoon. I'll do a watch along in the afternoon tomorrow. I'll come up and do a recap of the morning session when we'll get a chance to see the 100-meter men in action. Yeah. Yeah. Let me get to a couple more comments here and then see what we can do. MVE saying, I feel like Talu is making the same mistake that she does every championships, running too hard in the heats and semis and then getting run out of it in the finals. She's the queen of close. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks that way. Yeah. I get what I see what you were saying, Eric. I figure it out. So Bella, I'll explain uh the repechage. So what is, I guess it literally means second chance. So what World Athletics did at the Congress last year, was it last year or so, or the year before? I'm trying to remember. Dates are slipping. They decided to get rid of the fastest losers for events 200 and above, mainly because I think people didn't like some of that. You might have been in heat number 3 or heat number 2, and someone gets knocked out by couple of hundreds of a second, and the wind reading was different or whatever, that's the kind of thing. So they decided so if you notice today in the 800 meters, the top 3 qualified and everybody else went through to the second round if you didn't disqualify. So what they're doing is creating a situation for athletes to come again. So 800-meter women will run again tomorrow if they didn't finish in the automatic spots. And the 1500-meter men who didn't qualify automatically as well will have to come back. So you'll notice Nakai will have to come back because she didn't finish in the automatic spot today, which was a little bit of a shocker to me in the 800 meters. Yeah. And so that's what they're doing. They still have fastest losers for events up to all the straight events still have fastest losers. And they do the automatic placings for like top 8 or top 6, depending on the extent of the championships for 5,000 and 10,000. Yeah. And yeah, probably steeplechase to automatic get through. So that's how they're doing it. Yeah. Donald is saying only concern is with the tough semifinal. Too, will she have the legs? Yeah, interesting. Uh, Not a comment here coming in. I think the winner of the women's 100 meters is gonna be someone everyone is overlooking. Interesting. Who is that person they're overlooking? Yeah, it's a second chance saloon. It is though. The problem with it though is that, and I agree with it. Athletes now who have to run an extra day, they they don't get as much rest, so they may ultimately be at a disadvantage. I think it's more of a TV moment as well too, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to understand sometimes what they say. And Theresa is saying, let's see who is more hungry. It's anybody's game. After all, they all put in the work to be there. You may have some surprises. Yeah. And Jared is saying, do you think the track is fast now? It looks that way. Yeah. I mean, it does look that way so far. I mean, I don't doubt the track is fast. I guess it's I don't know how much faster it is from Tokyo. I think that's what probably we had to cut a lot of that video when we created it. So maybe some of the things I didn't get to say. I still think I think the track is fast. I believe them. One thing I think someone said this. I don't know if I think Sasha Lee was saying she was saying like it was a really smooth surface to run on. The thing that is really better about this track than the Tokyo track is the traction control on it. I think Mondo really improved on that. So when you step on a track, sometimes you have to adjust your foot. The track goes with you this time, so there's no adjustment needed. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, so far, my prediction there of not getting many records is not off to a good start. We saw Olympic record here, although I did say world record. But I mean, we saw an Olympic record from Cheptegei, and obviously and a world record from the Americans in the mixed relay. We'll get to yeah we'll get to see as it progresses. Yeah, thank you for explaining. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And I think SCG is also explaining it in the comments. Brian and Sandina look 95% all out. Yeah, last week she was okay too in the 200. I thought she had a lot more, but then the speed endurance wasn't there as much. I don't know. A lot of people are overlooking Alfred, but I just feel like those people aren't really following the sport the way they should, Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Uh Chris says Gabby Thomas is a chance with our finishes. Yeah, I mean, when we get to the 200, we definitely break that down for sure. Uh, I guess you're right. Yeah, if you come there, you get a more opportunity. It's the shoes that's really fast. Yeah, the shoes are really improving as well. I think we're getting to a point where there maybe needs to be more investigation into that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you're saying Jefferson's gonna shock some people? That's a possibility. I mean, yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. Yeah. The 10K race was incredible. I agree. This was one of the most calculated races. I talked about it early on. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the athletes, the Ethiopians, ran in pack. They ran for each other. Didn't work out the way they probably wanted it to in the end, but it looked fabulous. It looked really well. And then Cheptegei, I thought he was really out of it. Then he found his way back into it. And Joshua Cheptegei is a special athlete. And so the world record holder delivered. And yet again, Yomif Kajetchla has lots of questions to answer, so we'll see. Uh, I think the persons planning these events are not being considerate. They're tough. Why are they bringing the final so soon? No time for the runners to rest. Uh, you know the schedule in advance, though, so I guess you have to prepare for that. I think they run a tight ship. You have to get things quickly done. It's everything is business, right? TV and commercial, and there's only such a length of time there. So I understand why they do it, but I understand your point as well. Uh, have you picked your winners in the women's heat and wild card? Any obvious ones that may shock? I don't. Did I pick them? I never really picked them. Let me just pick them. I don't know. I'm trying to hold off on picking. I feel like my predictions these times have been going awry, so I feel bad about it. Not really though. Let me see. All right, I think when I was going through it, so okay, I think in semifinal number one, I think Talu and probably Jefferson might get the automatic spot. That's what I think. I think she may run fast. I mean, I want to pick Dina. I have a soft spot for Dina, but I don't know if she'll pull it off. Yeah, I also like Kambunji, but I think it might be a stretch too far. So I'll go with Talu and Jefferson may be followed closely behind by Dina Asher Smith. I mean, I wouldn't count out Dasso to be out there in lane one. Maybe she could run a blinder, but I don't know. Semifinal number two, I think Richardson will win it. Alfred will come second, and Fraser Price will come third. That's where I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, and then the rest, I don't think. I mean, I guess you could get another fastest loser from there. It depends if like a person like a Rosemary Chukuma runs a blinder there. I don't know. And for three, I'm gonna go with Tia Clayton because I think she's gonna step up and do something, and probably Daryl Nita. And I think that's how I think it might go. Yeah, yeah. The turnaround time is really quick, so it's it's like a 90-minute, like less than a 90-minute thing. So the semifinal again, I think what time is it again? It's like 1:15 or so the time is the semifinal is 1950 local time there, and then the final is 21:20. So it's not a lot of time. Yeah. It's a quick turner. Yeah, so you have to be relatively fresh. Is by the time you do warm down and you're basically warming back up again. Yeah, that's basically what they do. Yeah, yeah. And Shelly can never be counted out. She digs when it needs to. I agree. Yeah. Chris says purest men's 100 meter was Jim Hines, 68. Hines was special. Died some years ago. He was the first under 10 and only 19. Yeah, Jim Hines, two sport guy too, played NFL. Really, really solid guy. Yeah, you it's always like I always go in dreamland when you think about some of the greats from the past and you think what if they were running today and the sports science today and the surfaces, what would they do? I always, what would Wyoming Tyus do today, or the other Tiger Bells there, it would be different. It's interesting thing. Yeah. Bella is saying solid lineup. STG for life is saying Talu, Jefferson, Shelley, Shakara Richardson, Alfred, Tia, and TT Terry. So you have TT Terry getting into it, and Dina. Yeah. Bob Hayes was better than Jim Hines. No, yeah, okay. It could be. It's hard though, right? Like it's really hard to compare across eras. Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta appreciate the greatness of the time. Also, you have to remember none of these athletes are like part-time too. It's just and they just, you've seen the spikes. It's everything is different, right? It's virtually impossible to compare. It's hard we can't even compare from cinder to synthetic and synthetic tracks. It's just, yeah, it's interesting, different times, different times. Um, MV saying, do you think Shelley should have won her heat so she did not have to run in the most challenging semi and save her legs for the final? I I mean, it looks that way now, but I don't know. I mean, she could still have gotten one of those things. She could have still been in one of the semifinals with. She probably wouldn't be in the semifinal, obviously, with Richards and Alfred together, but she could have still been in one of them together, right? So it could have been a situation where she's in it with Richardson and somebody else that's fairly decent too. So I don't know. It's one of those things, It's one of those things, yeah. We're getting another comment here from Duel saying, "I think the semifinal will be faster than the final." It's possible. It's possible. You never know. Conditions would be there. Jared said, "Do you think Ben Johnson could run 9.5 if he ran today?" Interesting. I mean, Ben was a pure sprinter too. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he was very explosive. It's possible if you were to come today and do it, But also, like, what was Ben's really true potential? It's also interesting because a lot of those athletes of the 80s too, they all were on something. Ben was the only one who really admitted it, but I don't know. I mean, it's possible. A guy that I think should have run much faster and never did was Donovan Bailey too. I think Bailey had 9.7 in those legs for sure. He could have run much faster. I mean, then he got injured a lot, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Uh, STG says we do not compare times, but with a keen eye. No, I agree with you. I know it's not the timing. It's just like looking at the athlete, looking at the style. Like for example, a Wilma Rudolph would be fantastic today. Like you just look at her strides, her height. It would be amazing, right? Like I think if you had to all do it all over again, and you got like if you were to do a new 400 meters and you walk back up Marie Jose Perec, even though she's not too far off, and you have Shawnee and have all these women, and you just kind of put everybody in the same era in today, it would be a crazy show out there, right? But I don't know. Yeah. Johnny saying, have you taken a closer look at Michael Johnson's new track competition? 4 year proposal, big prize money. I haven't read all the details. I read some of his stuff. I listened to one of his interviews. Some of it I like, some of it I don't like. I think there are sports that won't make it into it, and I feel like it's stratifying the sport in some ways. But we'll see. I think it's good to have something like that. Also, I also like the move from World Athletics to start thinking about culminating the season with a big event. So kind of finishing off the track season. The real question, the real problem I've said before is that how do you market these things? It's a matter of marketing the sport in general. So maybe you need this innovation of a lot more stuff. Then maybe you'll get a proper breakaway or a proper sit down and figuring out what will happen. The Diamond League is very closely tied, obviously, to World Athletics. So it all works together. They have figured it out how to put people in the Diamond League into World Championships and automatic qualification stuff too. So I don't know where all of those things will go. There might be an interesting type of thing there. Yeah. But anything that will bring more money into it, and as STG just says, Grand Slam track is like Kerapaka League. I agree. It's like when Kerapaka created the Cricket League back in the day, and all those guys started to wear colors, and a lot of West Indies players got opportunities to make some money. Anything that can expand the monetary thing for athletes, I like the prize money for sure. It will good. It would be good, Yeah, yeah. STG said I agree about reading their gait and body structure. Yeah. Chris is saying yes, beauty in sprint posture should be in the Louvre as pure art. Compare Jesse Owens and Michael Johnson. it, Jesse Owens is interesting. I mean, what he did in 1936, how many world records and how yeah, actually in the Louvre had a really good there was a good exhibit this year. I think it's still in the Louvre right now in Paris on the Olympics. When I was there, I was looking at it. It was fabulous, and they also had some stuff on ancient Olympia and all that stuff. It's really really cool. So if anybody's in Paris now, did they close the Louvre? No, the Louvre is open, right? If you get a chance, you should go check out the exhibit there. Because as you know, the Olympics, the organization of it started in France, and then Athens was picked for the modern Olympics. So a really nice exhibit there, and some old stuff for there too. And they try to compare things that's in ancient Olympia. Yeah. Uh, who do you think will win tomorrow? The 100 meters? Well, first, let's get out of the semifinals for sure. Uh, I mean, I probably Richardson. I like Alfred. I've been pushing a lot on her, saying that she could probably pull off an upset, but we'll see. Yeah, yeah. Chris is saying LIV is the way forward. Okay. Will is saying STT keep working people, keeping people up to get hard. I don't want your job. I always hit the like button before checking. Thank you, thank you. STJ saying I looking to see what Kishane will do. His foot strike is unreal. Yeah, jackhammer style. No wonder he gets injured easily. I think the low impact training machine is a genius acquisition for him. Yeah, I think where did Francis got it in Australia, I think, right? Or something like that. It was that I don't know what he did, but we'll see. Yeah. Jerry saying I think Shakari can run 10.4. I don't know about that. That I I don't yeah, I don't that I can't I don't know. When Elaine ran 10.5, she was also doing 21 fives. I, you got to get in. Yeah, those, I can't see those times. Yeah, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna run because I gotta get up early tomorrow because I want to watch the morning session, and I'll be back. Chris is saying yes or yeah or technology. Uh, yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know if Shakara is better than last year. I can. Well, we'll see. She ran a what 1071. She's raced sparingly as well. She did some 200 meters. I was surprised that she didn't make the 200-meter team at U.S. National Championships. That is an interesting development there, but we'll see. All right, guys, I'm gonna clock out. Really appreciate everybody coming on the live tonight. I appreciate you all. Thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing. Hit the notification bell. I'll be here tomorrow, and we will get to see you guys again. And we'll do probably 3 lives again tomorrow. See you. Take care. Be well.